Previously on Queen of Jordan.
Don't tell me I can't sing. What the have you ever done? Who the are the Beatles?
I know what you said about me.
Please. I don't even think about you. You're nothing.
I know the photo shoot for Randy's dog's funeral is the wrong place to tell you this, but I'm going to Africa.
It's my way till payday.
Welcome to Gimmicks, a podcast about the high-concept, experimental, structure-breaking gimmick episodes of TV, from musicals to bottle episodes to even a genre shift from a high-concept sitcom to a decidedly low-concept reality TV show. I'm Derek B. Gale, and who's with me today?
Oh, someone drank all the throwing wine. It's me, David Arnold, and who's our special guest this episode?
Hey, it's Nick Coffman, host extraordinaire from Smashing Game Time, screenwriter, all that stuff.
Nick, we are so excited to have you with us. When the internet, or Twitter in particular, was going wild with its memories of 30 Rock, I posted something, you posted something, and I said, yeah, we just got to get Nick on this episode. And I'm so glad that this all worked out, and I'm really stoked that you're joining us for this one.
I'm excited to be here. I listened to your guys' Mythic Quest episode to get ready.
Oh,
Nice.
Makes me really happy.
David's first episode.
My favorite thing about that episode is reminding people how early into the pandemic we were singing Imagine, which blew everyone's mind.
Yeah, hate learning that information. So depressing, so incredibly depressing. Well, it's not depressing. We're talking about 30 Rock today.
Yeah, good segue. I liked that. If you're not familiar with 30 Rock, it tells the story of head writer Liz Lemon, who has her world turned upside down after the arrival of an arrogant new boss, Jack Donaghy. He has rebranded her existing sketch show and brings on a new star, Tracy Jordan, much to the frustration of Liz's best friend and current show diva, Jenna Maroney. The show ran for 7 seasons on NBC from October 2006 through January 2013 and uses quick, rapid, and surreal humor and has been described as a live-action cartoon. Nick, what is your experience with the television program 30 Rock?
So 30 Rock was one of those Thursday night shows. Like, I would sit down in front of the TV. I would do the Parks and Rec. I would do the Community. I would do The Office. 30 Rock was always the one that I was like least excited for at the time, just because I was a jock. I was like a little jock who's like, TV people, I don't get them. But the older I got, the more I started to like it. I think my first memory, like my first enjoyable memory of it, was watching the first live episode they did back in college. I think that is actually in the same season this is the episode we're talking about is in. And I just remember having a really good time with it because they just got really inventive with it. I did like watching SNL and Mad TV growing up, so I liked that live aspect. And recently, this is a show that I finally finished all the way through while I was on my paternity leave earlier in 2023.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
So not only were you sleep deprived because you had a new person in your life, but you were watching a surreal comedy that has cutaway gags that you never really know what's going on.
I had just finished Mad Men, and I was like, I need something a little lighter. I need something a little lighter.
Wow. It's a swing, Nick, if we're being honest. That is awesome. That is really wonderful. Derek, what about you? What's your experience with 30 Rock?
It's not that dissimilar, really, because I also was always there for, like, you know, the must-see TV, like Thursday night block on NBC for like this time period. And 30 Rock was not the one that I was as into either. Like, yeah, I watched Parks and Rec and Community were like my two big ones, and like 30 Rock just was one that I thought looked really interesting, but I think that I didn't quite understand. I think it never clicked with me that it was like a live action cartoon. So when you hear like the, you know, really bombastic like music that they'd play, you know, for the show, was sort of like the vibe for the show just feels weird and I don't quite understand it. And I didn't really give it much of a chance, even though like I was already a fan of Tina Fey from, you know, SNL, and I love Mean Girls and stuff. So like I should have given it a chance, but I didn't for whatever reason. But I always heard so many good things about it. And I think I did like catch the live show and thought that was was really cool. So eventually, it was only a few years ago, I just watched all of it on, I guess, Hulu. It was on there at the time. I just watched all through it on Hulu and was like, okay, yeah, I get it. This show's great. It's really fun. I dig it. And that's really about it.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this on our Q&A episode, but this is a series that I have watched several times over. I, just like the two of you, did not watch it live. So when Tina Fey listens to this episode of the podcast, she's going to be pissed because we were partially responsible for those low returns that she often cites, even though she knew this was a brilliant show. Interestingly enough, I did watch Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip live, and I'll be talking about that in a second. It was the wrong choice.
Yeah.
I love this series. It was the companion series that I took with me when I started to travel with an iPad. So anytime I was in some podunk Holiday Inn Express in the middle of nowhere, I would be able to watch a few of these episodes. And just it then became like a warm hug. So even going back to this one, I'm very familiar with it. I've seen probably the whole series the whole way through 5 or 6, maybe 7 times.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mentioned this, but in 2006, 2 shows on NBC debuted that revolved around the off-camera happenings of a Saturday Night Live-like show. 30 Rock, which we now know to have been the successful one, and Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, which was more serious and dramatic. Talked about the writers having struggles with drug addiction. That writer was played by Matthew Perry. Also sort of reads a little bit differently today. It was canceled after 1 season. However, there were a lot of people who were like, why are you trying to do 2 of these shows at the same time? And I actually love this quote from the president of NBC Entertainment. I just can't imagine the audience would look at both shows, choose one, and cancel the other out. In some ways, why is it different than when we have 3 or 4 cop shows on any schedule, or when we were showing Scrubs and ER, which are tonally very different, just also both set in a hospital?
I get the thought process, but I think a Saturday Night Live type show is such a specific concept. And also, I feel like you really can't not do a comedy. I feel like a dramatic version of a Saturday Night Live show is a really hard sell. And I think Studio 60 didn't hit the mark on doing a dramatic version. Because I think my whole take on that show, which I only watched like basically a second of, was that like, oh, it's Slater treating it like Saturday Night Live is the most important cultural moment that has ever existed, and you should revere it. And I'm like, I feel like you just feel like you're up your own ass on that, you know. So I feel like it's just a weird idea. But
I love
whatever. It got canceled.
I love that you brought up Studio 60 because in my research of watching this episode, I just let it run into the next episode, and it was the one where they go on hiatus and Liz is in the waiting room with Aaron Sorkin and gets to bring up Studio 60, which I wasn't fully aware of it until Matthew Perry's passing recently. And so, like, you know, the show kind of had a second coming of people being like, you know, we really underappreciated that thing. And so now that I had that context and then had that moment in that episode play out for me recently, I was like, oh, I get it. Like, that wasn't funny to me before, but this moment is even more hilarious now that I know that.
Yeah. I also like that they're both auditioning to write for like a singing competition. It's like not The Voice, but something similar. So it's not even like he's writing for an Aaron Sorkin level thing. Sorkin famously asked if he could come onto the set of SNL and was told no by Lorne Michaels. And that is where a lot of the feud between these two really birthed. But they were both very supportive of each other, and it does make more sense as a comedy. Derek, I will tell you the other reason that I think this doesn't work in an ER Scrubs way is that 30 Rock is Scrubs. There's a lot of correlation there, but ER was a very good show, and Studio 60, you know,
Aaron Sorkin is not always good at everything that he does.
You had Sports Night. It was fine. You didn't need to do it again. And that's what we were trying to do. Also, I think he was writing for season 3 of Studio 60, and you needed a season 1 in order for it to be successful. And that is my critique of the show.
He just got too greedy. He had Sports Night. Come on.
You had Sports Night, man. You had Sports Night. Sports Night, fantastic.
Let it go, Aaron.
I'm also going to make Derek watch West Wing at some point in time, but hang on to your hat on that one. Well, this episode of 30 Rock that we're talking about, we've already teased it a little bit. It's from season 5. It's episode 17, Queen of Jordan. Original air date, March 17th, 2011. The synopsis per IMDb: Jack puts Liz in charge of an event for Angie in hopes that she can emotionally manipulate Angie into making an appeal to Tracy. The Queen of Jordan cameras bring Jack some embarrassment while leaving Jenna starved for attention. A lost love returns to Frank's life, causing him to question his maturity.
You know, I meant to go back and look, and I totally forgot to do it. I think for the credits for this, the written by credit, I think written by is in quotation marks, which is very, very funny to me.
Yep. It was written by, and then the entire cast is guest starring, because of course
genius.
The main cast is Angie and her friends.
That is genius. That's so smart. Well, the actual episode was written by Tracy Wigfield, who started out as a writing assistant on 30 Rock in season 2, moved her way up to writer and producer. So at this point in the show, I think she was also a producer. After this show, she went on to be a writer and producer on the Mindy Project. She created the NBC sitcom Great News alongside Tina Fey as her executive producer. I don't think it lasted very long. And then she developed and show ran the Saved by the Bell reboot, which also unfortunately didn't last very long, even though that show was actually really good. But
It's great.
yeah, bummer that it didn't last longer than it did. This episode was directed by Ken Whittingham, which is I was curious if they would get someone who's like had familiarity with like reality show stuff for this, but this is just one of those journeyman directors who's been directing on like every TV show ever. It's been directing since the 90s, sitcoms, dramas. One of those IMDb's that just goes and goes and goes and goes, just from episodes of Just Gimmicks that we've like covered on Gimmicks. He's directed on Scrubs, Ugly Betty, Community, and The Good Place. So like even just among those, like a pretty wide array of shows. But he did also direct the sequel episode to this, the other Queen of Jordan episode in season 6. So they did bring him back when they needed to revisit this concept.
Now, Derek, say the full name: Queen of Jordan 2, The Mystery of the Phantom Pooper. We need to make sure and get that out there into the world.
I gotta be honest, I have no memory of that episode.
Oh my God. Well, Nick, I know, rewatched it, and
I made the mistake of watching that because
I've seen it enough
of the
times.
two, I think that is the most quotable of the two. Because I've got Defwine just mixed up in my brain right now.
It has Defwine, Defwink responsibly. Yes. There are some good nuggets in it, but the gimmick of the episode, you probably heard us talking around it. This episode aired not as an episode of 30 Rock, but an episode of a fictitious show called Queen of Jordan, a reality series that started sometime earlier this season. We know where the germ of the idea came from because in season 5, episode 11 of 30 Rock, an episode titled Mrs. Donaghy, the idea was planted as part of a gambit of Jack's to get Liz to do something he wanted. Angie was in the office and says, FYI, I am friends with a hilarious fat girl and a crazy-eyed divorced white lady who wants to get into the music business, along with Defwan and his even gayer boyfriend, and she even asks, should my meth-addicted nephew be on the show? And that is the characters that we see in the Queen of Jordan opening spray. We also see the show displayed on a television in the next episode, Operation Righteous Cowboy Lightning, as just a promo. Nothing more to it.
It is so funny how this was seeded like before this episode though. Like I wonder if, I don't remember, I didn't find anything saying this much, but like I wonder if they they knew that they were going to do this when they started planting these seeds, or if they started like making this and then just the idea for this episode came from coming up with the concept,
One thing that was fascinating to me was, this made me miss like 22 episode seasons.
Oh my God, right?
Because we don't get stuff like this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we get the in the past episodes, like what's the Mythic Quest one, the Deep Dark Quiet Death, or we get like what Righteous Gemstones does every season, but we don't get these cutaways that give like shine the light on like those side characters. And another thing about this was right around the time Tracy was out, real life Tracy was out for surgery. So part of me was wondering, was this already planned, or was this something where they were like, we need to make people realize, or we need to make people forget Tracy's not here for a few episodes?
Yeah, and so Tracy being gone, which was, of course, because of Tracy Morgan needing to be off of the show for a while, was written into the show. He was in Africa. We later learned that he is in a warehouse with an African backdrop, which is just the zany show. And then later he lives in Liz's apartment. It's all very complicated. So this is one of the episodes that fills in for him not being there, but the other episodes also are great without him. It's just the entire crux of it is they're trying to get Tracy back, which is one of the main plot points of this one as well. I looked through Bossy Pants. I read some other stuff Tina Fey did. She doesn't talk a lot about this episode. Yeah. That made it seem like there was value assigned to that. She has a large body of work, so she can't talk about everything she's done. My guess is at the least they would have used this as a cutaway joke for something, so they probably filmed a little bit of it, and that's why we saw it in earlier seasons, even just something on the background in TV.
Yeah. And I mean, like 30 Rock does enough high concept episodes that it makes sense that like the second that they introduce the concept of a reality show in their universe, it's like, put a pin in that. We could do a whole episode of this later if we needed to, and they do. So
we talked a little about this, but the Queen of Jordan format returns in the 6th season with Queen of Jordan 2, The Mystery of the Phantom Pooper. It's more of the same. There are some really great bits. As Nick mentioned, my personal favorite is Jack in a confessional says, I would appreciate it if you guys at Bravo, excuse me, you gays at Bravo. And it's just great. That's a great moment. And I will also say, and God, Nick, I hope this is on your wish list as well, but at the end of the episode, Angie says, because she's feeling very unappreciated by her husband, I may as well be Daphne. And everyone's like, who is Daphne? And it cuts to an introduction of Daphne in the show style. And she says, I'm Daphne. I handle conflict appropriately, and I'm up to date on my mortgage payments, which is why we've never seen her on the show. Prior to this, plenty of episodes of television have done a genre shift into a documentary. But I have to wonder, and a little bit of this was written, and I should actually have pulled the article name, was written in a review of this episode, that as sitcoms have moved to a mockumentary style of telling the story, like The Office, Parks and Rec, Modern Family, it's a little bit harder to sell a genre shift into documentary. So now the shift is to go to instead this fictionalized version of how we tell real stories, which is reality TV.
Yeah. No, that makes sense though, because I guess because even the director on this episode, I didn't think about it, but I think some of his credits were on like The Office and Parks and Rec. So it's like the sort of mockumentary style is so part and parcel at this point with TV that like honestly deploying that in an episode, even if it's like even with this pairing a reality show, obviously it's still a lot of the same camera techniques as any mockumentary does. So it does kind of make sense. It's sort of like we already have people probably literally on our set right now who've been also simultaneously working on actual mockumentary shows to play the exact same techniques. It's not that hard to just do this. It's not really that huge of a swing to do a kind of mockumentary style episode. And yeah, like you said, the only thing that really makes this really stand out is that like they also add the reality show interstitials and kind of vibe to it over top of it.
Yep. The parody that it is probably going for in the reality TV world is the Real Housewives program. Friends, do you have any experience with the Real Housewives of major metropolitan city near you?
I have very, very, very limited Real Housewife experience. I'm aware that there's a bunch of housewives and they're just about everywhere and they're real. That's about where I get off though.
Derek, what about you?
Yeah, I feel like I do for other people because I know that I have had at least one friend that I know who watched some of it, but not even like, I've never had people that were very seriously invested in them, but I had people who were sort of like, I do find these shows fun. And so I would catch some of that stuff through them. Like I had a friend who did it, and I think my ex got one. It wasn't into a Housewives show, but it was like one that was very similar of like very chaotic people living in a house together, and not like Big Brother, like one where they're all like rich and drinking wine all the time. Like one of the ones that were basically just a Real Housewives ripoff. So like I have seen them in passing enough to get the tropes of all of it and like the structure of it and like the funny little like interstitials and that they do with them and everything. So I get the vibe, but no, I never sat down and watched any Real Housewives myself.
Only for the purposes of this episode, I did watch 2 episodes of season 4 of Real Housewives of New York. Because that is the episodes that I felt like would be the best that would be parodied by a New York-based show.
Sure.
lot of white ladies for New York City, which I guess is also a critique of the show. And again, just stark that it is on Bravo. Of course, Queen of Jordan is also sold as being on Bravo. Bravo, a television channel that used to show operas. That is why it is named Bravo.
They've lost their way.
Haven't we all?
Look, art can be whatever you consider it to be.
Wow.
So, if you have some sort of emotional investment in it, which people definitely do when they watch Real Housewives, I think that counts as art. So
They do. And you know what? That is a good point, Derek.
yeah. Although I will say, to your point about a lot of white ladies on Real Housewives of New York, I do think that it's interesting. I mean, it's because this is specifically Tracy Jordan's wife, who is already a pre-established character, it is end up being interesting that this is like a primarily Black reality show in terms of its cast. And I do think the Real Housewives does tend to be pretty white across the board, right? I don't know if I'm wrong about that because I don't know enough about it. That's always in my perspective, is that it tends to be mostly rich white ladies most of the time. So it ends up being kind of an interesting spin that they're doing on it in 30 Rock.
I can't believe you're making me do this, but Real Housewives of New York is actually undergoing, as we speak, a complete rebranding. They have shunned off all of the old cast and have started brand new with new cast, specifically because of the lack of diversity on that one of the programs.
That's fascinating. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of reality TV is going through that right now, from my understanding. So why it took until 2024 for that to happen, but it's interesting that I don't know if it was intentional or if it was just sort of incidental with this show, especially because I know Tina Fey has some weirdness with race things in her history. So it might have just been an incidental thing, but it just ends up feeling very interesting the way that this plays out in this show.
I will say that a friend of the podcast and co-host with Derek on Walloping Web Snappers, Doug Fink, is a big reality TV fan. But for Doug, the show must have an end point. And one of the things that he sort of clarifies on shows like this is that they don't end. They just keep going. They tell stories sort of infinitely. So unlike a Big Brother, where it is people in a house, there is a season, it ends. There is a finality to it. Okay, the other thing to mention is that while we're covering that this is a gimmick episode, this is also, in a way, a bit of a limelight episode because we're focusing on characters that we don't normally get to see. We have, of course, met Angie, played by Sherry Shepherd. She is fantastic. We've even met DeFwan once when Angie was explaining that she had this reality show, but everyone else is brand new to us, including Susan Sarandon's character, and we'll get to that thorny sticket in a bit.
Oh, boy.
I knew there'd be something fun to talk about today, Derek.
Yeah. And Nick, I'm curious because you picked this episode, right? But you don't have experience with Real Housewives. What was your reason for picking this one? Is it just finding this episode particularly funny, or is there anything particular grand universal take that you feel about this episode before we get into it?
I think it's seeing all of the regular 30 Rock characters in a whole new setting. Like, it's still the same setting, but seeing them like in the reality show setting. So like Jack Donaghy, and I mean, I know we'll get into it in the run through the episode, but him just being completely out of pocket. I don't think Kenneth is really in this episode much besides a few bangers at the end. And then Liz just trying to do what Liz does, clean up other people's messes. But I mean, also I'm just a big Titus Burgess fan. So anytime I get to talk about Titus.
Well, let's talk about him then, because this is sort of Titus's break. He obviously had success on Broadway, but this is only his third television appearance before then appearing on Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Nice. Yeah. He's so good in this. Only gets a little bit, but every single thing that he gets, he nails in this episode.
I like I said, I don't want to jump around, but like anytime he was talking to Jack or talking to somebody, there's a line. Oh, what is it? He's like, I'm not only a gay hairstylist, I'm a homosexual party planner.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It is so wonderful.
Oh, so good.
Because he's one note, but trying to sell himself as being more than that. And that there's a beauty to that. In not only that he is a reality television character and you sort of have to be one note to do that. But DeFwan really is just one thing. And that is just like Homer Simpson likes his homosexuals, flaming, which we're here for.
Yeah. Also representative of many gays that exist that are just one thing. I'm just the gay, and that's it. And you know what? That is okay. And I'm glad that they have representation in this character.
It is okay. It's great. We love that. We love that.
It's my way till payday.
So we start with a previously on Queen of Jordan, which is brand new to everyone. So you just use this to get a little bit of level setting. Angie's in a recording studio. Portia knocks over a table. Dufawn and Randy argue, but about what? And Tracy tells Angie that he's moving to Africa. And that takes us, that's the quick previously on. Then we jump to a scene of Angie at her home explaining that she has a meeting with Jack.
DeFwan, glue in the business weave. I have an important meeting with Jack Donaghy from NBC today.
Defawn forgot his catchphrase.
And he looks devastated that he has forgotten it.
I'm trying to remember between the two episodes, does he ever come back and give us the catchphrase?
No, I don't think Defawn gets a catchphrase, which is okay. No.
That would have been a wonderful
that's so
payoff, like in that second episode.
Yeah.
Defawn is beyond, I think, a catchphrase. So
He's above it. He doesn't need it.
Before we go into Jack's office, we get some upbeat music over some establishing shots, but they're not the establishing shots that we're used to in the house style for 30 Rock. They are from a reality show. So they're quick. They use a blurring or like a wipe-like effect to tell the story that they're moving. They're also much quicker than establishing shots are done on 30 Rock, which are a little bit more like a slow pan, the way that you would normally see in a sitcom. That looks like the episodes of Real Housewives that I forced myself to endure, or the Selling Sunset episodes that I have happily watched, and I accept listeners' judgment associated with that decision that I and my family have made.
I don't even know what Selling Sunset is. Is it a house?
Do not-
Is it a house flipper show or something?
No, you wish.
He doesn't know.
It is Real Housewives, except they also are realtors. And I believe that how this was sold to me is, oh, don't you like when we watch house selling programs? But it is the reality TV that you want to avoid, Derek, because it literally is. You can tell that a producer just said, "Hey Nick, don't forget to remind Derek that you are in a blood feud with each other," and film.
Look, I get the appeal though. That does actually sound fun.
Well, okay, it's on Netflix. Good luck.
Go for it.
So after that, we have Angie in a confessional sharing that Tracy is out of town, which we already know, but with him out of town, she finally has time for her.
I finally have a chance to focus on me. That is why I'm launching my music career. It has been my dream to be a singer ever since I was little. Drunk the other day and rented out a recording space.
Oh, Angie, thank you for coming in. NBC could not be happier about Queen of Jordan. For the first time in 6 months, we beat all the music choice channels, except, of course, Latin beats.
Well, Angie's thinking of the next move now. As you know, my single is dropping.
What's happening?
My single is called My Single is Dropping, and it's dropping.
I've totally honestly forgot that this episode is what this is from, because her single, My Single is Dropping, is dropping.
It's so good. It's so stupid. It's so good.
It's so good.
She says it so earnestly. It's all Shepard's delivery on this.
Oh, Sherry Shepherd is so good, so fucking good in this. She's so good at selling this character. Like, and I don't know. Like, I know she's a personality in like many things, but like she just embodies this like confident reality show person so much. Like, yeah, the earnestness, the sincerity, like, because anytime someone's like, wait, what are you talking about? She's like, obviously, I mean, the name of my song is My Single is Dropping. Like, idiot. Like, how am I the only one that understands this?
She looks like she ends every sentence like with an implied dumbass. Like,
yeah, right.
Oh, what's this?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I love it. And she's so good at playing against the high personalities of everyone else, especially like Jack Donaghy. Like, she is actually like, she goes toe to toe with Alec Baldwin very, very well. And you do believe it because she just has that energy and that confidence.
Yeah. I would be remiss in not mentioning that this is not the first Angie Jordan, that a different actor played Tracy's wife in a cutaway scene where Kenneth was wooing her because Tracy was unavailable due to, I don't know, his snake or whatever.
Was it anybody famous who played her that
It
you
was
remember?
not. It was not.
Gotcha.
It didn't even have lines. It was just a slightly older black woman who sort of pursed her lips. Like a great actor, but
That's
did
all she
what the
did.
scene asked. Yeah, but that's all she did.
Gotcha.
And it's been Shepard ever since.
Yeah, nice.
Jack does say that with Tracy being gone, TGS will be hosting another Best of special, so the studio's free for Angie to host her release party. This is a good note that Liz jumps in and says, legal says we can't use best. Again, reinforcing that the show's not very good.
Love that. I love it so much.
And I think to go back to our Studio 60 versus 30 Rock situation, Studio 60 was telling the show about the best sketch comedy show that has ever been. And 30 Rock is about possibly the worst sketch show that has ever existed.
Yeah.
Was that a like a dig on SNL maybe? And again, I was more of a Mad TV kid growing up, but I just remember there being like, they would run the best of for people. Like it felt like every other week back in the aughts. So I don't know if
probably so, because SNL did those best of compilations, and they released them on DVD and video too. So like that was a thing. And to be fair, I feel like that was a thing that I think a lot of people would discover SNL through too. Like people would buy like best of Chris Farley or whatever, and then like get into SNL, you know? So I think that does kind of make sense. Whether that's like actually making fun of SNL or just like comparing themselves and saying that the show is just that much worse than SNL, that I don't really know. But it's like a little bit, it's self-deprecation either way, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Liz turns the topic to getting Tracy back on, but Angie explains that she's tired of cleaning up his messes, and that she's ready for her to have the spotlight, which makes sense because this is the Queen of Jordan. At the end of the scene, Jack trips, and this is going to be Jack's runner for the episode.
It's so funny. It's so silly because I feel like you don't normally get to see Alec Baldwin doing like slapstick, like pratfalls and stuff. So to give that, like, he almost feels like out of place doing that kind of humor, which then makes it even funnier that like he's doing it, and just like it doesn't make sense that this character is the one who just like trips and falls on camera, you know?
And it gets funnier every time they replay it.
Oh yeah, and
it really does.
And we're gonna add some paint onto this canvas in just a little bit as well. That just perfect. I will say that I did grab the chyrons when they popped up. Gosh, I hope I'm saying that word right. That's one of those words I've only seen printed.
I think you're right.
Never,
I'm pretty sure. Right,
Jack just reads Jack, NBC executive / Tracy's boss. Liz reads another person, which is a nice little dig on who is this person. Again, I don't mean to keep going back to the other episode, but Liz shows up at one point in time in the second version of this, and it just says Lisa Lampanelli ? Which is that was probably my favorite Chiron of the two episodes.
Oh, that's great. Randy, who's one of the reality show characters, wants to reveal her shocking secret, but she is interrupted by Jenna, who shows up throwing wine.
Angie's single release party is tomorrow night. It seems like the perfect place for me to reveal my shocking secret past.
No, we're not writing a tearful admission about you being a call girl in Delaware. Write it yourself.
For your information, I am a Christian illiterate, so that's not an option.
You know what? I'm not getting sucked into your crazy reality show nonsense.
Liz, I'm so mad at you for that thing you did. Am I trying to instigate fights by throwing wine at people just to get on camera? And maybe also promote my new lifestyle website, genocide.com? Of course not. I mean, is wine throwing something that even gets you on a reality show?
Which is also her whole rudder this episode is like just trying to get, understandably, wanting to get noticed on this reality show. And the best way to get noticed on a Housewives-esque reality show is to throw wine at people, have fights and yell and have feuds with people. But I fucking love the running gag that like no one ever bites. So she's like trying to start this and everybody's just like, go away. What are you doing? And she's trying to promote her lifestyle website, Jenna's-side.com. Genocide.com. Genocide.
Yeah, this is one of those things that was being shared around on Twitter in December when we were being obsessed with 30 Rock. I don't think it's the best joke in the show, but I will say Krakowski commits to the bit, and that is a joy to see.
Mm-hmm.
It's during this moment that they do the cutaway of all the wine throwings, and I couldn't stop just giggling at Randy throwing the wine at her dog.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good.
So the first one is Randy and Portia both whining each other. Then it is Daphne, Randy, and Angie in a 3-way wine throw. And then the final one is in the back of a limo with a German Shepherd and Randy dousing the dog in liquid. And the dog does seem to be having a lot of fun as a canine actor.
And that dog gets his revenge at the end of the episode.
Sure does. He sure does. Hang on to that dog character. I forgot that came back.
Such a good boy. Such a good boy.
Yeah.
But still in the writer room, Twofer announces that Lynn Onkman is being released from prison, having been incarcerated after having a relationship with her student. And we learn that Frank Rossitano was that student.
What a bizarre storyline to have in this episode. It's like, I actually, and this, I mean, Freddie Rock does some dark stuff. I don't feel like this storyline is out of place for this show. I do question why it's in this episode, because I feel like they're so smart about finding things that feel like it would show up in a reality show if it came here. And this feels like a storyline that could be in any episode that doesn't really, like, I don't know. I don't feel like you would see this as a typical subplot in a Real Housewives show if the Real Housewives went to, visit someone's workplace. So I don't really understand why it's here. And this episode it doesn't feel like this episode needed padding either, because it's already so fast paced. So for me, it's just kind of, every time they revisit this one, it's just like, it's purposely uncomfortable, but it's also like, I would rather just get back to all the other really funny stuff instead of this uncomfortable story that isn't really that funny, It's kind of, it feels very weird.
It's kind of crazy how it plays like a key part in the A story later on, not to jump ahead.
Yeah.
But I was thinking the same thing as I was rewatching it before the show. I was like, this just feels like this feels like they were looking for a C story and they wanted to, like, what's the most 30 Rock ass thing we can throw in the middle of this rehashing of Housewives. And I had the same thought. Like, first of all, I love that his hat in the picture is my first hat.
My first hat.
It's a great moment.
It's so great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did feel a little weird compared to where the A and the B story were.
Yeah. Like, why not find a storyline that, would show up in a Housewives show? Like, I think it would be funny if a typical 30 Rock character, then I don't know what a typical Housewives storyline would be, but I don't know, like, even something kind of more soap opera-y, like I just found out I have a secret brother or something like that. And then, like, that feels like something that might be an interesting twist on a reality show sometimes. But, like, this is just too, like, dark and weird,
Yeah. We're going to do some of the standbys, which is, a lot of it has to do with fashion, on Real Housewives of New York in the second version of Queen of Jordan. I'll say what's also interesting is that Lynn Onkman is played by Susan Sarandon. It's not like a joke actor. And that plot line carries beyond this episode. Similarly, in the second version of Queen of Jordan, we are wrapping up a storyline that features guest Mary Steenburgen. So it's like another one of those things where you're like, you have royalty with you and you're making them do this reality TV riff. That almost feels like a little bit of a gag in and of itself.
Sure. I would have loved it if Susan Sarandon was deployed in this episode just doing something else. Like, honestly, if Susan Sarandon played a more Housewives-like character, I would have loved to seen her do that, because I think she would have had a lot of fun doing it,
Yeah, come on and be Cerie's mom. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. We've successfully rewritten a show from... oh my God, is this show from 14 years ago?
Stop. 13 years ago.
13. Oh, thank God.
So Susan Sarandon's character would be into it.
Oh.
Nick, that was amazing. Wow. Wow, incredible. Quick Chiron grabs. Jenna, former child star, Pete, powerless, bald.
So we are now in the costume room where Angie is selecting an outfit for her party. Jack whispers to Liz that he did not trip, contends that the show is trying to make him look bad. And of course, this is all being filmed. So on the reality show, we're seeing Jack repeatedly talk about the fact that he tripped, but actually didn't trip.
This morning, I did not trip.
What? Yeah, you did.
Shh. You know how the media are. They wait for a mistake, and that's all you are. It happened to Hitler. No one ever talks about his paintings.
God, Jack, calm down. They're not going to use you tripping on the show.
I am not going to be portrayed as some buffoon. I am graceful. I was an athlete at Princeton.
What about our real problem? We need Tracy back, but all Angie cares about are her own dumb projects. Devon told me she's the new spokeswoman for the Ham Council.
People do like the way she says ham.
Ham.
He insists to Liz that she needs to convince Angie to cooperate and get Angie to bring Tracy back onto the show, which basically ends up being Liz's plot throughout the rest of the episode.
We've got some whispering here, and whispering happens a lot on Real Housewives. Their microphones pick up almost everything they're saying, but anytime we're in a whisper, we get subtitles, which we do here as well. And I thought that was a nice nod to the format as well.
That's really clever. Yeah.
I actually listened with headphones on because I was watching on my phone like you're supposed to watch TV these days.
Jesus Christ.
It's like the audio this episode compared to like other episodes, like they did it like a reality show. Like the voices are booming, just very much differently.
Oh, that's such a good observation. Yeah. Because, I mean, already it sounds different just from not having the score in this show, but I didn't even think about like literally doing the sound mix differently for it. That's so cool.
Yeah. Derek mentioned this, but when we talk about Jack falling, we do go and do a retelling of it. It's in black and white. It's in slow-mo. And I am here to tell you, anytime someone brought up that so-and-so said something, we got a call back, and it was in black and white, like it was old-timey footage, even though I'm sure it was from last episode. So incredible.
Oh, I love that attention to detail.
Great choice.
Oh, God. We also get the ham. I forgot that the ham bit came from this, too. Sherry Shepherd just saying ham. Why is that so funny? I don't even understand. But it is so funny. Just her saying that one word.
I think it's credit where it's due. I think it's the full joke of being like, I don't have time to get connected with Angie's nonsense. She's the spokesperson for the Ham Council. People do like the way she says ham. Like that. It's 1, 2, 3. It is a perfect execution.
Yeah, that's so true.
I touched on it earlier, missing the longer season episodes. I missed the 22-minute episodes. Like everything's just so tight and packed in there.
Yeah.
Like it's like a joke every 2 or 3 lines.
Yeah.
We really did come up in the golden age, didn't we?
Yeah, look, if this show was a streaming show and even expanding to just like 26 minutes instead of 22, it would hurt this show so much because the thing that I think makes this show as good as it is the pacing of it and how tight it always is, you know?
So I think I shared this in the Q&A episode, but Mike doesn't really care for 30 Rock, and yet people do like the way she says ham is uttered anytime we do anything with a pig in the household at all.
Wow, incredible. I love it.
Just quick call and repeat.
Yeah. There's also the bit too when like Tina Fey does an impression of Tracy Morgan. It's Liz doing an impression of Tracy Jordan.
Wow. If only Tracy were here, he'd be like, damn, woman, I want to make love to your neck.
Don't do impressions of other races.
Roger that, Angie.
And Angie is just like very assertively is just like, don't do impressions of other races, which is just, again, it's like it's so funny because that's like still a conversation that like happens now. And it's like in 2011, it was like 30 Rock, which like is no stranger to like very dark and very like edgy comedy, is still also just being like, don't do impressions of other races is not fucking good or funny. And also knowing the context that Tina Fey still would, in her like very next show, would do some questionable things regarding race and characters playing different races. It is just interesting to see it in this episode at this point in time. And like Liz is not treated as being in the right. It comes up again and she's scolded for it again. So I don't really understand how to take that ultimately, like in retrospect, but in a vacuum, I like this bit a lot.
Yeah, I think, with Angie is the highest ranking black woman character on the show, even though she's a guest star. Like the show will not get any other characters that fit that bill. And so I think it's a good way to explore Liz Lemon as a character, which is kind of tied to Tina Fey as a person.
Right.
Explorations around race and the racialized identity of Black women. There's an earlier episode in the series in which, Angie and Liz are meeting for the first time, and Angie sort of you almost get a scolding tone to Liz, like, "Oh, do you think I'm your sassy Black friend?" And Liz starts to stutter, and then Angie goes, "Because I am." And it's a good like inversion of the expectation. Like,
yeah,
to me, and I know it's Sherry Shepherd, and she's the reason to watch $100,000 Pyramid because she might show up, but like she's perfect. She's perfect in this role.
Yeah. So we go back from commercial to DeFuan setting up for Angie's party. I think that's when we get the homosexual party planner line. And Jenna's continuing to try to start some shit, but again, still the running joke is happening and nothing is taking.
Hey, girlfriends. Why don't we all have some drinks and talk about how I think Portia has no class? Yeah, you heard me, Portia.
I will not be in the same room as that woman.
Is this about what happened in Atlantic City? I didn't say it.
You did.
I didn't say it.
You did.
I didn't say it! You did! I didn't say it.
You did.
Excuse me?
She can throw wine as much as she wants and try to start blood feuds as much as she wants. Everybody's just like, go away, you weirdo. And that's it, where it stops. And meanwhile, DeFuan and Randy are having a beef, but it's not clear about what. And also, Lynn is there looking for Frank. So that storyline's also still happening, unfortunately.
Oh, don't worry. That fuse still be burning, Derek. We're going to have to get to it eventually. This is one of the times we get to see Kenneth. He went to Party City because, DeFuan is such a good party planner that Kenneth went out to Party City to buy supplies for this party. I think that's a nice nestled joke as well. Chiron lists him as elderly Page, a good call to anyone who's been following Kenneth's storyline. Mm-hmm. He might be immortal. We don't really know.
Yeah.
And then when Lynn shows up, it's Lynn Onkman, educator / sex offender. We don't love it. We don't love it at all. We then find ourselves in the snack area of the studio, is the best that I could describe the scene's location. Michael, who is Angie's addicted nephew, is attempting to steal electrical components. Meanwhile, Jack is attempting to assert his masculinity by throwing a ball at .com. Because .com doesn't catch it, Jack starts to make fun of him. But in reality, .com asks some very pointed questions that Jack then answers, which make it seem like he's gay.
When I was at Princeton, I played baseball and football. And back then, football players went both ways.
Really? So you went both ways?
Yeah, we all did. It was the 70s.
So when you played baseball, were you ever on the DL?
Yeah, I was on the DL most of my junior year.
DL can mean disabled list, but it can also mean down low or secretly gay. Which one was Jack talking about?
When we were on the DL, we spent most of our time in the whirlpool, getting rubbed down.
You were a switch hitter?
Switch hitter, pitcher, catcher, whatever the boys needed.
I love this because the thing is, like, I mean, it's so easy to just be like, joke, straight man saying things that makes it sound like he's gay. But what I like about it is that, like, it's really kind of the observation that so many sports things and so many like manly things sound like the gayest shit in the world. Ever since I learned that like tight end was a position in football, it was all ruined for me. I'm just like, this is all just gay shit. None of this is masculinity isn't a real thing. Like, what are you talking about? And they really like play every like double entendre that they can in this. It's so good. And like .com's turn to the camera every time he says something kind of sus is so well played.
He could make a good John Krasinski, like his camera turns.
Yeah.
Like the knowing nod. I liked the Grizz and .com, the running joke of .com being Grizz's best friend and then Grizz being Greg's best friend.
Yeah. And that's what the Chiron reads for this one. I'm so glad that you picked up on that. And I also love that there's this sort of jealousy of being like, wait, I'm not your best friend? Like, what?
Yeah.
Who's Greg? Why are you hanging out with him again?
It's so funny.
Now, Nick, you played football famously in high school.
Yes.
Yes. And so
Famously.
were you a tight end? Did we just give you an insinuation right there?
I was too slow to be a tight end. I was on the O-line in the trenches with the boys, as they say. Never went out for a pass though. Didn't play.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I did play both ways in high school. So you never mind.
This is getting a little too warm for me, so I'm going to have to cool my loins down just a bit. We're back in the studio as the party is getting set up. Jenna again trying to start a fight, but after failing again, Portia shares that she's actually concerned about Jenna.
I drank all the throwing wine, and I have something to say to Portia. I know what you said about me.
Good. Because I'm concerned about you. Even though we just met, I can tell you an alcoholic.
Come on, Portia. I want to fight.
I have battled my own demons, and you need help.
No, I don't need any help. I am in denial about my disease, and I don't know what would change that. Drunk actor brainstorm. I'm gonna make Pete host an intervention for me. It'll be all about Jenna. Drama, crying, the beauty of redemption, perhaps a song. This is the best day of my life.
So good. What a good direction for that to go in. And then we get the scene where Liz is telling Angie that she has these, like, she's like, well, I got the audition dates for the backup dancers. Oh, but whoops. I guess I accidentally brought your wedding video. Doesn't that just bring back so many beautiful memories about Tracy, your husband? Don't you love him and want him to come back? But it's also like the worst wedding that's ever happened in the world. It's so good. And like, Liz is like such a bad liar. So it's like, it's so clear what's happening. It's so funny.
Well, and they do the flashbacks earlier in the episode where all the times where Tracy is just like a nightmare for Angie. Yeah. And so you get a little more of it here. And I remember in my younger years watching this being like, man, Angie's really up Tracy's ass. Like no wonder he's like such a loose cannon when he gets to work. But watching this as an older gentleman now and seeing it, I'm like, oh no, like, no, her single is dropping and this is the big thing for her.
Yeah.
I also do like that when Liz says she's got auditions for the backup dancers, Angie says, oh, good. I need someone to dance for 15 seconds because that's how long my song is. Which is just incredible. And we do some things in this series around song length, which I think is always a lot of fun, whether something's too long or too short, which again is good inside baseball for anyone who knows how television is made when sometimes you need to pad something out or cut something out.
Yeah. Do we ever get to hear her song in any future episode? Any of your music?
We do not.
Rob.
I could make up a version of it right now if you'd like. Just for 15 seconds of going, my single is dropping. That's all I would be able to do.
No, I think we're good.
Well, the action then turns to the strip aerobics studio that Randy owns as she dances in the background on a pole. Lynn and Frank catch up.
I'm sorry, but I couldn't bring you to my place. My mom's there, and she still wants you to rot in hell.
You live with your mother?
Yeah, otherwise who would wake me up for work? What's wrong?
Frank, the boy I fell in love with was the most amazing 8th grader that I'd ever met. And I couldn't wait to meet the man that boy became. But you haven't grown. You're still talking about superheroes and video games and why Seth Logan shouldn't have played the green something.
Hornet. Yeah, and it's Rogan.
It's like you're stuck.
Oh, I wonder why I'm stuck. What could have happened to me when I was 14 to make me never want to grow up?
I think now is the time that we have to talk about this relationship and this plot.
Hello, Consequences. Nice to meet you.
I do think that it's funny that you have Randy dancing in the background, doing her stripper pole dance the entire time in the background, that these two are trying to have this serious uncomfortable, like if it isn't uncomfortable enough, you have someone doing like, erotic dances right behind you. Like it's very, 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 I think that's a really funny addition to this, but I don't know. I just like, I don't even, it's like, if this was in another episode, it would still be uncomfortable, but it would be like 30 Rock levels of doing something uncomfortable, right? Like I understand that it's within the realm of the types of things that the type of space that 30 Rock plays in. It's just like every time they cut to this, it just feels like the episode just comes to a stop and it's not funny. Like it's not, these scenes just really aren't funny to me,
And I mean, Frank is a creep. Like he's a creep throughout the series. And so just for it to be happening to him, you're kind of like at odds. You're like, I feel bad for this guy in this moment, but like he's creepy the rest of the series.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and we breezed over it on purpose because I'm in charge of the notes. But in the scene where we sort of start to talk about Lynn, Pete has this whole thing about being like, this is really inappropriate if it was a girl. It's a dude, so it's awesome. And I hated that. Ugh.
I don't want to talk about it.
Well done, sir.
Guys, a teacher preying on a student is wrong.
Yeah.
If the teacher is male and the student is female, what happened to Frank is awesome. Standing ovation.
It was very Pete though. Like if anyone was going to say that, it was
Pete.
going to
That's
be
true.
Pete.
That's true.
Yeah, because I didn't take that as like, I took that as a commentary on how that stuff is treated in real life, though, because that's for real. You know what I mean?
That's
like
true.
how many
People do say that,
teen
yeah.
soap shows have your teacher student, have your weird teacher student relationship, and it's only ever portrayed as like a hot steamy thing when it's a hot lady teacher and her teen boy student, like that's kind of a reality of it. I feel like it is often treated as like that's just like the teenage
You're
boy's
right.
dream, like the hot for teacher thing. But the
totally
second that
right.
it's like it's weird because it's sort of like, well, no, that's like literally like statutory rape, like that's pedophilia, like that's all the same shit as it would be if it was reversed, and that's like a genuine problem in society, right? I took that as more of a direct commentary on how fucked up those standards are, depending on the gender of the people involved.
I wonder if it was in the news at the time, because I think a South Park episode touched on this too around the same timeline, like early
Wow.
2010s.
Yeah.
I have to imagine that they treated that with dignity and respect.
Oh yeah, South Park, very tasteful, very very tasteful episode.
Wow, I have no idea what was going on in South Park in 2010. That was a short-lived experience for me.
God, yeah.
That's what's going to happen is somebody's going to listen to this and go, "Ooh, I have a South Park episode gimmicks could do," and Derek and I are going to rue the day.
Yeah, I think I'd be okay with saying no to that.
They're all over the place. Every episode.
depending on the era of South Park, I would say yes to it.
Give the fans what they want.
It would
Derek.
be a hard
And-
sell. It would be a hard sell.
Just do the World of Warcraft episode. Call it a day.
Oh my gosh.
It was a fun episode, though. Actually, I probably would be okay with doing that one.
See, you have a heart of gold there, Derek. That's what it is. You just care too much.
Well, DeFawn meets with Jack in this cafe, trying to convince him to come out, because at this point, it's already gone around that he is a gay man who falls, basically. It's introduced with this amazing like title card. I laughed so hard because the title card is his name is Gay Jack, and they like splice in him falling over like the fun wacky backdrop. It's so fucking good, and it's so like out of nowhere too. It's hilarious. It's such a great heightening of this running gag.
And again, I have to impress upon people that this is the editor of this fake Bravo shows, like Boss's Boss's Boss.
Yeah.
Like Jack Donaghy is an executive with GE, which owns Scheinhardt Wade Company, which owns NBC, which owns Bravo. Like that is the way that this works. And
That was impressive.
to be able to
Yeah, I'm
do
glad
this
you
to your
remembered all that.
bosses. Thanks. I'm here for you. You wouldn't have known. I could have made up one of those. Bravo. Who would believe that? But it's kind of fun with that in mind as well. And season 1 Jack would not have done this. Season 5 Jack would totally roll with these punches because he is in the wacky world now.
Yeah. But we also get this like continuing this whole deal with Jack just trying to appear, cool on the reality show. Like he's just in the confessional.
It has come to my attention that some of what I said yesterday may have been misconstrued. Going both ways in football means playing offense and defense. And there is nothing gay about the Princeton fight song. Oh, the merry men of Princeton are charging up the rear, holding all the balls. Okay, I hear it now. Regardless, I'm not gay or clumsy, so your little show has nothing with which to embarrass me. That was the chair.
And then he stands up and it sounds like he farts. And he's like, that wasn't me, that was the chair, but he cannot recreate the sound. And I feel like many people have been there. This is a relatable experience.
I think he
Everybody
farted.
farts.
I think he farted.
Oh, he definitely did. He absolutely did.
The farting thing is so real, and we actually covered it in clinical prep because at some point in time you're going to fart in front of a client, and you need to know what to do when that happens, because you can't like stop being a therapist in that moment. And it was the most awkward class that we have all ever gone to. But I will tell you, I've had clients be sick. I have had someone, not be prepared and hit their cycle at a time of the month and need to like leave in emergency. The farting exercise taught me so much about how to stop therapy, and just acknowledge that like the world exists outside of the therapeutic context. And so I say, thank you so much, to Dr. Twan for teaching me that people fart and sometimes it's okay that it stops. So I do appreciate that. I never farted in front of a client. So
you turn to them after you let one out and you say, and how did that make you feel?
Wow, you were in that class too.
I was there.
Wow, speaking of therapy, our next scene is in Jenna's dressing room, and it's, listen, I'm here all night. It's the intervention that she wanted, and it's A&E's intervention. We're doing the intervention thing. Everyone has written letters to Jenna. This is not how an intervention actually should work. Interventions also are really boring, and I'm glad we're capturing that this is a little dull. When we're introducing people, Richard Esposito is there. Did you all know who that was?
Mm-mm.
He is the head of hair for 30 Rock, and he established a relationship with Jane Krakowski.
Oh, wow.
They were like besties. And so he said, can I be in this scene? And he was put into the scene.
That is so funny. Oh my God. That's so good.
But if you do happen to rewatch this and watch him, he is not an actor, and you can tell. It's kind of awesome. He never knows where to look. It's great. It would be me on TV.
Right.
I would never know where to look.
I'm going to go back and watch that because I love it because when it stands out, it's the only thing you see.
Yep.
It's like when you're watching The Dark Knight Returns and you're watching all the cops and criminals fight at the end in the big fight. You're like, oh, wow, this is bad.
And while Ham is fantastic, my moment of the episode is them saying, and Jenna, your two psychics are here. And one of the psychics going, wait, you're seeing another psychic? I mean, I knew that.
So silly. I love it.
Great fucking joke.
It's so great. Have either of you ever seen a psychic? I've always been interested in it, but I've never tried it.
I saw one. So I was at a wedding reception for a coworker with my wife and like all my coworkers. And we were at a table with the psychic. And she looks at me while we're at the table. And remember, my wife is next to me. And she says, I love your aura. You're putting off a great aura. She says that right in front of my wife.
Wow. Is that because that's like hot, right? Like she's just hitting on you.
She loved my aura though. And I was just like, oh, please. Can we not comment on each other's aura at the table in front of my partner, please?
Wow.
That's so funny. Yeah, I haven't either. I've gotten tarot readings before, but not from going to a psychic or something that I've never like paid someone that wasn't someone that I already knew to have it done,
right.
I guess.
Yeah.
So I've never had like a quote unquote professional psychic or whatever do it. But I've always been interested because I don't necessarily like believe like the spiritual side of it or whatever, but I think that it can be fun. And I do think that especially like tarot readings, I can find them kind of insightful depending on how you personally read into them, less so than like less predicting your future and more like how does this make me think about my life and reflect on things based on what they're telling me. And it would be fun to just go to a psychic and they get everything wrong too, just to see the performance of it,
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah.
it's because, ultimately you're kind of paying for the entertainment really in some ways. So,
Yeah, my biggest regret when we were living in LA is that we never just went into a psychic because they were everywhere.
Right.
In the West Hollywood neighborhood that we were staying in. I felt like I never had more access to psychics than I did in that moment.
That's so funny.
Could have got my aura read. Oh well. I'll just have to wait until Nick invites me to a wedding, and hope that this lady shows up again.
My wife was mad at me. I didn't do anything.
Wow.
Your aura was just too good. You got to tone it down, man.
She's like, why is your aura out at this wedding? Put it away.
Aura cheating. Like that's intense. That's amazing.
I like this next scene too, because we actually got like Liz and Angie's dressing room. Like basically like trying to covertly use her computer to email Tracy, but she's like caught in the middle of it. And they have this fun bit where like it's actually played kind of realistically. Like she's trying to log off and she's like, no, a pinwheel, not the pinwheel. And it's like, yeah, whenever you try to do something quickly, that's when the computer slows down and you get the pinwheel. Like it's still real.
Excuse me, is that my computer?
No, I was just, no, pinwheel, not now.
Are you on my email? Are you emailing my husband?
I can explain. I'm asleep right now, and I think that that's my computer. Huh? What? Where am I?
Tracy, as your wife, I'm ordering you to come home.
I know this looks bad.
The kids need you, and I want to give you all the sex things you like.
You don't have to read anymore.
For instance, doing it across the bed instead of up and down.
I saw that in a movie.
Come home now. Show enough, Angie. Show enough?
It's a first draft.
Are you trying to trick Tracy into coming home? Were you trying to trick me with my wedding video? Listen, you're not in charge. I am. Mind your own business.
Yeah, well, Tracy is my... Ow!
There's more where this came from. I'm contractually obligated to pull out some bitch's weave 8 more times this season.
It's not a weave.
And she eventually like pulls Liz's hair out because they're always pulling other women's weaves out on these shows, but obviously Liz doesn't have a weave, so she just pulled her hair out of her skull.
I am contractually obligated to pull out 8 more bitches' weaves this
So
season.
good.
So very good. So very good. I will say that if you don't already know how to get to a desktop and you're on a Windows computer, if you push the Windows key and D, it will just display your desktop. It is called a boss button. All operating systems have it.
What?
Yeah, possibly predates both of you. But most early computer games actually had a boss button that would just open a like partially filled in spreadsheet. So if you were playing like Minesweeper or other things and you push this button, it would just be this like blank spreadsheet that you could show in case your boss was about to walk by your screen.
Oh my God, I wish I had known that because I could have used that many times in my life. That's so funny.
Windows D will save you if you're ever looking at something that you don't want someone to see. Maybe it's not maybe it's because you're about to surprise your partner with a present or something. I don't know how to do it on Mac yet, so sorry, Derek, you're on your own.
Oh, I'm on a PC. No, you're
Oh,
good.
well,
You good?
Windows D is
Well,
your
no,
friend.
I guess my work computer is a Mac, so I guess I should need to learn it on both of them, shouldn't I? But you know,
I don't know.
I did not know. I'm gonna try it next time I need it. Thank you, Bill Gates.
No problem. Oh, I thought you were thanking me.
Well, thank
I'm
you,
not Bill
David.
Gates.
Thank you, David Arnold.
Let's be really clear. We would have been selling that a lot sooner on the podcast if I was Bill Gates.
I don't know that I'd want to podcast with Bill Gates personally, so I'm glad that it's you.
That's fair.
Instead.
That's fair. That's fair. Wow. Nicest thing you've ever said about me. You're not Bill Gates.
Well, we revisit this intervention again, where like it just continues to escalate. First of all, Jane Krakowski, she's so good. She does it a lot in the show, but that she's so good about this thing where like she's smiling while she's acting in a way that I don't know how to explain it. Like she's very good at being kind of a bad actor, but not in a way where she is acting badly, but in a way where it's so clear that like I don't know. She's good at smiling while saying things that should be sad, but it feels very realistic. I don't know how to explain it. But she's good at it. Either way, the whole deal is that like she's fully indulging and like, yes, I'm just an alcoholic. And then this guy named Charles appears and it's like, well, here's Charles to take you to rehab because that's how an intervention has to end.
The beauty of redemption.
Jenna, will you accept the help we're offering you today?
Of course. Today is the first day of the rest of my life.
Jenna, this is Charles. He has his van waiting outside.
How nice.
He's going to take you to the airport and then fly with you to the Alternatives Treatment Center in Minnesota.
Well, of course. Because that's how interventions end. And I can't back out now, otherwise they can't use any of this. Oh, God.
Anyway, that's why I did it. 1, to see the fear in her eyes, and 2, without Tracy or Jenna, we can file a claim against the show's insurance and keep getting paid without working. So this is kind of the best day of my life.
And Jenna's like, she's saying out loud, like the idea that it's like, well, yeah, I guess I can't undo this now because I have to go through with this if this is the way the intervention has to end, I have to go through with this or else I won't end up on TV because they'll know that it was fake. So yes, I guess I have to go to rehab now. And like the terror in her eyes as she's being dragged off to rehab. A+, so good.
It's so good. It's just incredible. And I will say, to me, probably my favorite character on 30 Rock is Pete Horderberger. And Pete gives sort of the thesis of why he was even indulging this, that if Tracy's gone and Jenna's gone, they can actually file with their insurance company and everyone gets paid not to work. And I say, go Pete.
Hornberger.
Yeah. Hornberger.
Pete is definitely like in the top 3 characters for me in the show, just because of how much of a worm he is. He's just a little worm.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny though, because I hadn't seen the pilot in so long, so I just went back and watched the pilot, which was like an okay episode, but like he is so he's just like a regular guy in that episode, and it was like shocking to me how just like normal and not sleazy at all that he was in that episode, like to the point where it's like a major plot point that like Liz is upset when he gets fired, and it's like by season 5 he's just like such a piece of shit, honestly, in a way that's like very endearing. Yeah. It's so funny,
hiding from his wife, all this other stuff, getting his hand caught in the vending machine during Milf Island, all that wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
I do wonder, Nick, as your children get older, if you won't also appreciate Pete for like having sort of an adversarial relationship with his children, that they are like stronger than him and better than him in so many ways. I'll also say that Pete is married to, I don't actually remember her name, but Paula Pell, who is just like supremely awesome. And so anytime we get to see her is also great. Not in this episode, sadly, because we're back to Frank. Frank has gone to a fast food restaurant to continue his conversation with Lynn and reconcile their relationship. He has brought his toys with him and begins to throw them into a fat fryer. At one point in time, Lynn stops Frank from throwing in Skeletor, claiming that it is his favorite. And Frank says, Skeletor isn't my favorite, you are. And that's pretty romantic, I think.
That's a character arc right there.
This is also where we get a character who shows up and says, now let me sign the waiver. People have to know about blurry face syndrome, implying that he is not, in fact, blurred, but he is blurry by nature.
So stupid. I love it. It's like such a cartoon joke.
It's such a throwaway joke, but it's the perfect button for that scene.
Yeah.
So great. I will say that Frank mentions that he's able to find Lynn because she is a registered sex offender. The registered sex offender program is a pretty disgusting practice that does very little to keep vulnerable populations safe and does tremendous harm, disproportionate to queer people who often have to turn to public environments to have sex in, and that is why they get put on the sex offender registry. And I will say I'm against that, and I think that we need to reform that system, and people shouldn't be able to find Lynn. Didn't love that.
I understand why people are in favor of something like that, but the idea that like you can just be caught naked outside not doing anything and then now you're a registered sex offender for the rest of your life and it's ruined, like that's pretty fucked up. So on the same level as someone who's actually like actively harmed another person physically, like that's very, very fucked up. But yeah, it's cool that this episode brings up topics like that in this fun little Housewives pastiche, but sure.
Very random episode for it to be in, but yeah.
Right. It's so fucking weird.
We then go back to the studio because it's time for the wrap party of My Single Is Dropping. DeFuan continues to try to get Jack to realize his true self. And this spurs Jack into saying, fine, I'll just dance with you. And as soon as DeFuan sees Jack dance, we cut quickly to a confessional where DeFuan says, oh no, that man's straight.
Oh, I hope you're not this clumsy on the dance floor.
I am not clumsy.
You know why you're so tense? It's because you have a secret locked up inside you. A man's sex secret.
You know what? I give up. If this idiotic show insists on portraying me as some clumsy, gay flatulent, so be it. I am extremely secure in my athleticism, my masculinity, and my rectal integrity. Indeed, DeFuan, I know who I am. So, if you want to dance, it would be my pleasure.
Yeah, he's straight. That boy cannot dance.
Which is great because Jack is like over dancing in a non-rhythmic way. But then Jack announces that he heard what Taphon said about him and it is on.
It's like one of those things where it's like it's playing into stereotypes, but in a way that I think is funny and good and clever.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's the performance of these folks. It's Alec Baldwin and Burgess are just so good together.
Yeah.
That you can't help but like root for this sort of rivalry between them.
For sure. We get this sort of kind of, I mean, as emotional as this show gets, emotional climax of this, because Liz confronts Angie about like this whole situation, right? Because it's like they need Tracy back or else their show is gonna die, basically. Angie finally breaks down after seeing Lynn and Frank. That's how their storyline finally plays in, because they're so clearly in love, despite how fucked up their backstory is. Their love is still there and real and in front of them, and that reminds Angie of her weird love with Tracy.
Angie, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry.
No, it's not you, Liz Lemon. It's them. I miss my weird love, but he won't come back.
What?
I've been trying to get Tracy to come back ever since he left, but he won't. So I sit and act like this is what I want. But what I really want is for everything to go back to the way it used to be. I just want to wake up in the morning and look over at my husband asleep on our neighbor's roof.
But if you can't get him to come back, who can? What if he never comes back? What is going to happen to all of us?
And in fact, she reveals that she's actually been trying to get Tracy back this entire time, hasn't succeeded, and has just sort of been putting on a face saying that she doesn't miss him and wants to be independent, when really she does actually miss him in all of his wacky chaos.
It's so weird, the choice of the weird love there in the instance of the victim and the statutory rapist.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have achieved the same arc by having Randy fall in love with Lutz.
Oh my God. Better episode, because also Lutz.
Fucking Lutz.
Yeah. Lutz. No, I mean, I love when storylines meet up.
Yeah.
I mean, because I like watching television, so like
Sure.
So I do love when a C story goes back to the A story, like it does warm my little cold heart. But you're right. Once you start to sort of peel the onion on this, you're like, oh, I still don't love it. But and again, I don't mean to make this just a gush session, but like Shepard sells it. She is emotional. She is actually selling the fact that like Angie misses Tracy. They do have a weird, unique, and beautiful relationship, and she wants him back. And she is in fact Liz's ally in that way.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind, I think, because I do like the cleverness and the darkness of like a character witnessing an actual like kind of bad relationship and then taking it the wrong way and just being like, well, their love is just weird and that reminds me of my weird love. Like if that wasn't a storyline and she just saw two people and it's like, look at them, look at those weirdos together, like don't they love each other? And Liz was like, well, I'm pretty sure like that's like a rapist or something. Like it would be a dark joke, but it would just be like a one throwaway dark joke. I think my problem is the way that it's been seeded throughout the entire episode. And now it's like, you can't even like just cut it out of the episode because you've made it such an instrumental part of the episode. And now the whole thing's uncomfortable.
I think my favorite thing that comes from it, and I don't know if it's right before this or a little after, is that it gives us Portia's catchphrase of Portia reads the papers.
So Portia looks at Lynn Unkman and goes, that's Lynn Unkman. Portia reads the papers. In the second version of this, Derek, I know you haven't watched it recently, but Portia has to say Portia reads the paper because that's her catchphrase. And she is in a confessional going, I hate my catchphrase, which is just, it's so incredible. It's just such a great like little moment.
Yeah.
I will also say this is where we get our other beat of Kenneth. Just like in all of season 5, Kenneth doesn't really have a role in this episode. So we get a couple of breaks of him trying to find a gloves partner, which maybe you could read into that the glove is without love. That's weird in this world where we're tying this all together. There you go. D-story connected.
Oh, that's nice.
The only thing that doesn't connect is Jenna. Jenna comes back. She has evaded Charles. She hit him over the head with a wrench. Where did it come from? We don't know. It's Jenna Maroney.
And the tag of this episode just has so many great little moments.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Are you ready for them, Nick?
I am.
The first one is Jack challenging DeFuan to a dance-off. Then Jenna hiding from Charles while drinking in a vent. Randy is mad at Liz, but why? Jack continues to deny that the fart was him, and .com gets wine thrown on him from the dog, and then we get post-production.
That's my favorite bit in this whole episode. The dog throwing the wine on .com. Like, and are they in the back of a limo or SUV or something? Like, it's so absurd. I love it so much.
There's also Kenneth makes a reappearance with the glove. He has the 3 gloves.
Three of them.
And that's not right.
Which,
I didn't even grab
think
that
about David's
truly...
subtext there with the glove earlier. Glove love
Yeah.
triangle. Who knows?
There you go. It's a 3-way. Wow, there's just so much to do. What are our overall thoughts on this episode of 30 Rock, Queen of Jordan?
So we didn't get to mention her, but I thought Randy was like an unsung hero in this episode. She always has like those weird random anecdotes. Like, when my second husband shot me for the second time, I knew I needed to get out, or something along those lines.
Yes.
And everyone's just shooting Randy. I think there's another person in there she mentions that shot her. And having the studio apartment for her pole dancing.
Yeah. I'll also say, when she says she's got sudden news, she's actually asking the writers to write her announcement about her sudden news. And they say, "Can't you just write it yourself?" And she says, "No, I'm a Christian illiterate." I think referring to a Christian scientist.
Yeah, Christian illiterate. That's so funny.
She is great. Overall though, it's a fun episode. The C story kind of feels weird 13 years after the fact. I'm sure it felt weird during that time as well. But I mean, it's a whole 22 minute episode that completely makes you forget that Tracy Morgan is not in the show right now.
Yeah. And I mean, as a Housewives parody, like, I appreciate that you don't even necessarily have to have watched Housewives. I think it's just is enough in the culture and they do it so well that, like, you get it anyway. Like, it's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, you might not get the exact point of reference, but because of the rhythms and exactly the specificity, you can still tell that it's funny. And that's how this episode is. It's like, yeah, I can tell that they are basing this on an actual reality show. And this feels very, very real to what that is. And they pull it off really well.
This is a great episode. It's definitely a not skip on a rewatch that I do. I love that we didn't even talk about it, but the visual storytelling is also different. Just the way that they're doing camera work. So it does look a little bit more like a reality TV filming than it would look like this typical studio cameras, which is also great. Just fantastic work on everyone's end on this, from production through writing, through acting. It really is a great parody and a good episode, and in fact moves our plot along, because we are still dealing with Tracy being gone, both Morgan the actor, which means Jordan the character.
Yeah, absolutely. Fully agree.
Yeah. And for something that we can cover on the podcast, this is also an accessible episode of the television show, since the live episodes are a little bit harder to come by because of some of the topics covered in them.
Oh, that's a good point.
I think they took one of the live episodes isn't streaming anymore because certain blackface decision made by John Hamm.
Yeah. I think that the one from this season is on Hulu still.
Okay.
So that one is still. I don't remember which is which, to be honest. But whatever one is on season 5, you can still watch that.
So yeah,
one. It's because I still would like to do a live show episode at some point, because it's such a wild swing that they did it. But I'm glad that we did this one, because it's also just a very funny one, and so many like banger jokes that I forgot came from this episode.
Ham. Well, and looking in my research, I was like, oh, when was like, what else was going on NBC around this time? Like, what were the big moments in like the big 4? And again, I mean, these the big 4 being Community, Parks and Rec, The Office, and 30 Rock. And this was right around the time of the big festival episode for Parks and Rec. I forget the Autumn Festival or whatever the name of that festival was.
Oh, yeah.
Community was right around like the Shirley pregnancy, so not that big of a moment, but still, it was season 2 Community. So still,
that's like creative height of Community for sure.
and then The Office was heading into their stretch of Michael Scott leaving of Steve Carell leaving the show. They were heading into it. They were like a month out at this point.
Wow.
And so this probably what was that, season 7 of The Office? Probably one of the last like really strong seasons of TV across the board.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
Today, 10 people watch your episode and we're like, that is fantastic. And back in these days, it was millions, you know?
Yeah.
And episodes were 22 minutes long. Oh,
wow. Well, if you're listening and you're Gen Z, we're essentially saying get off our lawn because there are 3 old men on this podcast just living for old times here.
Damn kids.
These damn kids. And they're streaming and they're 8 episodes.
They're hour-long episodes of Ted Lasso.
Okay. Well, there are some like 2-hour episodes of Ted Lasso.
We don't.
Oh boy.
30 minutes of Ted Lasso was enough.
Yeah, truly. Wow. Well, Nick, it was so great having you on because we needed someone with that sort of comedic background. You're still doing stuff with comedy these days. You're writing, you host a podcast. Tell us a little bit about some of the projects that you've got going on.
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I'm a screenwriter working on getting into my first TV writing room. Recently repped back in October through Rothman Andreas. Super awesome. Excited to be working with the manager. So stay tuned on that. 2024. Fingers crossed. Also, like you mentioned, I host Smashing Game Time with my brother Josh. Sometimes Jake when he's there. It's a weekly podcast we do where we just talk about video games. We talk about video game news. We usually have awesome guests on, like the old David Arnold over here. Hey, I pointed in the right direction. Look at me. And then I've also started recently writing for Hard Drive, which is the video game satire website. And that was that's big for me because that was a goal of mine last year and the year before to get onto the pitch team for the website. And the night we're recording this, my first article went up on January 6th. So, hey.
Oh, boy.
Lucky me.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I love Hard Drive. Oh, that rules. That's so cool.
But
yeah, congrats.
Yeah. We'll make sure and link to that article because it is a savage takedown of Emily in Paris. As
wow.
It very well should.
Sorry, Emily. Sorry.
Yeah, listen. It's nothing she hasn't heard before.
Dang, so now January 6th is like white person 9/11 in 2 ways, actually.
Listen.
But yeah, people can find me on Hard Drive. Smashing Game Time has a website right now, which David wrote a nice little top 10 list that's going up on that website. That's smashinggametime.com. And you can honestly find me anywhere on the internet. I think I'm too front-facing on the internet. You can find me at That Coffman on Twitter, all one word.
Nice.
Awesome. Nick, thank you so much for being here. Derek, what about you?
Sure, you can find me on Twitter at Derek B. Gale. That's still where I'm most active, but you can find me other platforms under either that name or Dare Bear, Mr. Dare Bear. I do a couple of other shows on the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective, like Walloping Web Snappers, where my co-host Doug and I do deep dives into every Spider-Man cartoon ever made. I have Screonk, a Godzilla movie marathon that I also do with Doug, where we're stomping through Godzilla's filmography, and I also have a Twitch at Mr. Dare Bear, where I will occasionally show VHS recordings of old television airings with the original commercials. What about you, David?
Oh, yeah. I do also host a podcast here on the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective on Mothers in Media called Are You My Mother? Every episode we break down with a guest, a mother from film, video games, television, books, operas, whatever, and talk a little bit about how the way they fulfill the role of being a mother or betray some of the expectations that we as a society has put down on them. It's always a good time, and we try to get a little Freudian every episode.
Curious about the do you have an opera episode coming up, or is that just tying back to the Bravo of it all?
I was just thinking of Bravo.
But, I'm sure there are good moms in operas too.
There are. I assure you there are not. I am certain that is not true.
Well, Gimmicks is a proud part of the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective, which we mentioned. If you're looking for other queer media podcasts, check out the full roster of Glitterjaw shows at glitterjaw.com.
And if you want to support this show, you can give us a little tip by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/gimmickspod. You can follow the podcast at gimmickspod on social media. Email us your questions, feedback, and corrections to gimmickspodcast@gmail.com. We also ask that you rate, review, and subscribe to on all podcast platforms. And until next time, friends,
keep being weird.